All right. Good morning once again.
Morning, sir.
Okay. So we just to recap on exactly where we stopped last time. So we are still analyzing data with advanced Excel using advanced statistical functions in Excel. So far, so good. We have covered the basic Excel analytics statistical functions. We have also covered how to use Excel intermediate statistical functions to draw insight from data. And like I have on the screen, I think this was the dashboard of the last class, right?
Yes.
We answer several questions, and the results of that analysis generated this dashboard. I know there was one that we did last, which is how to use the if statement or the logical function to assign value to a variable depending on the criteria specified. So in this section, we shall be looking at the final aspect of this set of functions. And these ones are grouped under advanced Excel statistical functions. So let's rephrase the topic to be data analytics with advanced statistical functions. I hope we got that. Data analytics with advanced statistical function. Okay, so let's look at the general definition of this set of functions before we start taking them one after the other. So let's write this set of functions or this set of statistical functions in Excel. They are advanced exploratory functions. They are advanced data exploratory functions. So what actually makes them to be advanced? Because they can be used to analyze data where multiple criteria is needed. You know, like the ones we have treated so far, particularly the intermediates, we observed that we could not summarize data beyond one criteria. But for this particular set of functions we want to look at, we can actually use multiple criteria. So that is one unique characteristics of this set of functions. So most time they are more applicable or more applied in data analytics, especially when performing descriptive analysis, right? So it's one of the most used techniques or method when it comes to performing exploratory analysis with multiple criteria. So we are still going to use these data sets just to walk us through it. Again, I believe we all have this data set. I think I've sent it to us some time ago. So this is a 6 inventory data set with ID, region, country, item type, 6 channel, priority, order date, order ID, ship dates, unit sold, and then what we are more interested in here will be total profit and total revenue. So like I explained to us the other time, you as a data analyst, you must be able to be in the shoe of the stakeholders because that is what will actually help you to project the insights they actually what expect you to analyze out of the data. So we are going to start with, let's look at the example of this set of functions. So we have the sum ifs. So the difference is just the addition of the s. So once you add s to sum if, it becomes sum ifs, and that's automatically allow you or advance you to this a system where you can summarize your data using multiple criteria. So the first one we shall be looking at is sum ifs. The second one will be count ifs. So the same set of functions, but we are just adding s. So count ifs. And then the third one will be average if. Average ifs. So like I said, we are just adding s to the same functions we have used before now. So let's see how we can apply them in drawing a meaningful insight that could influence decision making. Now, take for instance, you are asked to summarize the sum of total profits per item type, the sum of total profits per item type, and also where sales channel is offline. So you can see this is two criteria analysis or question. So this question will involve two criteria. The first criteria is you are summing the values in total profits or the values of total profit per the item type. That is the first criteria. Then the second criteria is you are to sum only where the sales channel is equals to what? Offline. We can even add more criteria. We can decide to say where country is equals to maybe Russia. So that is what? 3 criteria. So it can continue like that until you get to a point where you feel that it's not going to make sense. But most time, the analysis with this set of functions always stopped at 2 to 3 criteria. Once it's beyond 2 to 3 criteria, sometimes it becomes very complicated to understand. I hope we are following. Let me get the rest one before we look at the first one.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's start with the sum if. So let's define what is sum ifs. So the sum ifs add numbers in a range. The sum ifs add numbers in a range that meets multiple criteria. Let me take it again. The sum ifs add numbers in a range that meets multiple criteria. And that is the key word here, multiple criteria. So let's quickly look at the analysis question using this same sales inventory data that can be answered with the sum ifs. So let's write down the question. So our question, let's go to, okay, just help me to write it down while we are looking at the data. So the first question, we're going to answer 2 questions, or I will just answer one, and then I'll give you the other one as either assignment or a classwork. So let's assume as a data analyst, you are asked to analyze the total profits. So I hope you are writing the question down. Analyze the total or summarize the total profits generated per item type where sales channel is offline. So this is the question. Let's start with 2 criteria. Let me take the question again. as a data analyst, you are asked to summarize the total profit per item type where sales channel is offline. I hope that is taken. Please, somebody should confirm for me.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so that is the question. Now remember that as our principal, you are not expected to display your insights on the same sheet where you have the source data. So we have already prepared our dashboard. So we answer the sum ifs analysis at the bottom of this section. So which is still forming my dashboard, right? So I can, just to differentiate it, let me merge the whole of this section just to differentiate this analysis. Let me merge the whole of this section. And then let me title it multiple. So I expect you to do the same by the time you do your assignment. Multiple criteria analysis. So let me give the whole of that just to form a design there. Let me give the whole of that merge cell a background color. And then let me also change the text color. So all this, you are trying to design your analysis dashboard. Now, the first question is, let me merge this set together just to explain the analysis question. So the analysis question is, we are to analyze the sum of total profit per what? Item. So let me just abbreviate it. Per items, where, because this is the second condition, where sales channel is offline. Where sales channel is offline. So this is the question. So let me also enhance that cell a little. So I need to reduce so I can see the whole write-up. I hope you are still seeing it. So let me see if I can. It's like I did not merge enough. Let me add so that we can make the write-up visible. So let me add this. Okay, so I think I have room to increase it now. All right. So this is the analysis question. Now remember that the first thing is for us to design our analysis table. Remember I spoke about this last time. So analysis table is a model you are using to present your technical findings. So what I'm going to do, if you look at the question, because the question should inform you how to draft your analysis table. The question says, analyze the sum of total profit per what? Item type. So the first criteria that is mentioned in your question should be the values you are to list out. So because right now I have to go to the data sets, because item type is mentioned in that question. So I'm going to take everything I have here, Control C. I believe you are familiar with this. Now go back to your dashboard sheet and then Control V to paste. So the next thing I'm going to do is to remove duplicates, because I only needed the item unique lists. That is all the transaction on baby food in the source data should be represented with one of them, because that is what the question says, that we should summarize all the places where baby food item was purchased, total profit. Where cereal item was purchased, total profit. Where household item was purchased, total profit. That is technically what we are asked to do. So in that case, I have to remove duplicate. And to remove duplicate, like I have taught us before now, to remove duplicate, highlight the entire values in the column, then go to data tab. Go to data tab and then select remove duplicate command. And then the only thing you need to confirm is where are the duplicate values. And as indicated or prompted by Excel, is telling us that we have duplicate values under a column that is named item type. Yes, we agree with that. So we click OK. And then you get a feedback that says that 89 duplicate values found and removed. So at the end of the day, we are left with how many unique value? 12. And like I told us the other time, this could be an analysis question. So the question like, how many unique items, how many unique products are in this particular data frame? So with this, if you are writing down your observation in your PowerPoint, this can also answer a valid analysis question. So I click OK to proceed. So what I'm doing right now, I'm just designing the model or the analysis table. All right. So I'll try to make the field, the header, look different from the values. So let me give them this color, and then if possible, enhance the size a little. Now, the next column, that is where I should list or label the expected results, which is exactly what we are asked to do. So here I should label this total profit, because that is what the question says, that we should summarize the sum of total or profit per what item type. But the second criteria is not mentioned here. And the reason is that we are going to extract it from the data set. So now we are to write our function here. So this is where the sum ifs comes in. So you enter the equal sign, then you type the sum ifs. I hope you are following. So the moment you activate the function, I want us to look at the syntax. The syntax is quite different from just sum if without the S. And let me take my time to explain it. Now, the sum range is a constant parameter which must be number data type. Did anybody got that? Let me find out. I said the sum range is the constant parameter which must be number data type. So let me explain what that means. If you look at the question says that we are to analyze the sum of total profit per item type, right? So the total profit is the only column or attribute with numbers or floats data type. Remember when we started, I told us that in programming generally, we have different data types. We have the primitive data type, we have the advanced data type, which we are still going to learn more about when we get to Python. So just for us to understand why I'm using the word, it must be a number data type. So now, if you look at the number data type, the number data type we are talking about here is, for example, if I type 1,000, 1,000 is a number, but it is an integer the moment it is a whole number. It is an integer. It is an integer. Now, but once it carries a decimal point, it's no longer an integer. It becomes a float. So most of those values we have under the total profit, if I'm to go back, most of them are not integer. They are floats because they have decimal units. But whether decimal unit, in other words, whether integer, whether floating number, whatever you are bringing here, the argument you are bringing here must be number. That is what we are saying. I hope that is clear. Let me get a response, please.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay. Now, which means that out of the three headers that are involved in the question, analyze the sum of total profits per item type. Item type, they are not number. They are string. That is text-based or character-based what? Data type. Then if you look at the second criteria that was also mentioned, which is offline, the values you have there, they are also what? Strings. They are not numbers. They are also string. They are not. So like I was saying, offline is a string. Sorry, please. So like I was saying, I'm trying to give us the clue because sometimes students always find this aspect difficult to cope. The sum range is the total profit value because if you look at the question, offline, they are string. Item type, they are also string, which means that you have no business capturing their values. The only header with values mentioned is what? Total profit. So I will go to the data set and capture everything I have under it. Everything I have under it. So remember the logic we have been using so that if there are new entries tomorrow, they can be accommodated. So we will just select what? The letter O. Right? I believe we still remember this. Then after this, the next thing is for us to look at what it says now. The moment you have given the sum range, which must be number data type, then the next, once you add a comma now, you add a comma, it will shift to what? Criteria range 1. Criteria range 1. So criteria range 1 is the argument, is the selection of cells range where criteria 1 is. Where criteria 1 is. That is the criteria range 1. Let's understand the logic. the value that will be used as your first criteria to summarize values under total price, where will it be located? That is criteria range 1. Now let's look at the questions. Analyze total profit per item type. So your criteria 1 is the first item you select. So which means that we are to select all the what? The item type what? Range. So I will also select letter D in order to what? To create room for the new entries. I hope you understand that. I want to make sure that you are getting it. Madam Blessing, hope is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now that is criteria range 1. That is not criteria 1. You have only selected where criteria 1 value reside. Now you put a comma. Once you add your comma, the next thing is that criteria 1. You should be checking the update here. You can see that these two, they are no longer active, which shows that what? You are done with them. You have supplied their data. Now, the focus is now criteria 1. So criteria 1 is that criteria. Remember that we have mentioned it in our dashboard. So you will now switch to your dashboard and select. At the moment, we are summarizing for baby food. So you click on baby food. That's criteria 1. That is criteria 1. Now the
what criteria range 1?
Good. That's why I was taking time to break it down. Let me hear from Mrs. Blessing. Ms. Blessing, can you explain that? Let me know if you were following. Answer the question. What was criteria range 1? Because she's finding it difficult to differentiate criteria range 1 from criteria 1. Are you here, ma? Okay, it's like she's okay.
Yes, I'm here. The criteria range 1, we've already selected it from the data.
No, how can you explain it to her? What is criteria range 1? You know, I was explaining before I applied the criteria 1. Okay, let me explain. Now look at it. Look at it. Criteria range 1 is the range of cells where criteria 1 value reside. Informal, did you get it now? Now, how you will know is to look at the question. The question says, analyze the sum of total profit per item type. So which means that item type is your first criteria. I don't know if you understand that first. Please answer me sharp. Informer. Item type is the first criteria for summing values under total profit. Is that understood first? Let's answer fast. You ask question. You are not here.
I'm here.
Well, you are not answering me now. Is it your network?
Yes, it's my network.
I want to make sure that you understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the criteria range 1 is the range of cells where you have where criteria value is. Now look at the question. The question says analyze the sum of total profit per item type. So which means that the first criteria for adding value under total profit is going to be an item that will be selected under what? Item type, isn't it? That is your criteria range 1. Then after you have highlighted that range, your criteria 1 will now be selecting that item, which is baby food. So which means that at the moment you are practically telling a cell that go to a column where this particular value is listed together with other information. So trace in that column only baby food, trace it to total profit. Oh, she's out. I think she's having a network issue. Ms. Blessing, let's just wait for her a little. So like I was saying, I said, I was trying to break it down for you so that you understand what we meant by that criteria range 1. So criteria range 1 is the column where your criteria 1 value is. So if you look at the question says, analyze the sum of total profit per item type. So which means that there is a value under the item type column. In this case now is the what? In this case now is the baby food. So go to that column, all the values there, all the baby food there, trace them to the column of total profit. Sum up all their values and give me the total here. So in summary, the criteria range 1 is the selection of all the values under item type, while criteria 1 is the selection of one of the value. In this case now we are selecting baby food. So what I will do is, let me quickly go through writing the function again so that you understand it. So remember that sum range is a constant, which must be a number. So what I'm going to do is to go back to the data set, and the only column that is mentioned, for it is the column of total profit. So I'll select everything here. That means what? Is the sum range. That one is constant. That one is constant. It must be number column. It must be a column with number, not text. Is that one clear now? Now,
Yes,
before the criteria range 1, you now ask yourself, where is your first criteria value is? And your first criteria value is under item type, baby food, that we have listed in our analysis dashboard. So I'll select everything I have under what? This range, which means that we are only acknowledging this range to tell Excel that, you see, the baby food that we are going to use as a criteria to sum up values under total profit, this is where they can be located. That is what you have just informed Excel. So the moment you are done with this selection, you put the comma, then Excel will now ask you, okay, select that baby food that I should locate under that column. Now, remember that we have mentioned the baby food in our dashboard. We have listed them, all the unique item type. So after adding a comma, I'll come and pick baby food, which means I am saying that at the moment, you are to sum up all the total profits that are connected to what? Baby food under what? Item type. Is that clear now?
Yes.
Good. Now, you will now put a comma. You will now put a comma before we answer the second criteria. The moment you put a comma, Excel shows you what? Criteria range 2. Now, what is now criteria range 2? Criteria range 2 is where your criteria 2 value is, just like what we did now. So looking at the question here, the question says, analyze the sum of total profit per item type. We have answered that one. Now, where says channel? So which means that our second criteria is under what? Says what? Channel. That is going to be our criteria range 2. So I will now go to the data set and select what? All the what? The says channel what? Value, like this. So which means we have also informed Excel that our second criteria is going to be located what? Here. So you now put a comma, Excel will now ask you, okay, so now what is the criteria? The criteria, remember that in our dashboard, we did not list the sales channel, right? We only listed item type because that is the first criteria. So where do we pick the second criteria from? You pick it from the data. And when you are picking, you pick the first one because the question says that where sales channel is what? Offline. Now, this is one offline. this is another offline. I shouldn't pick this offline. If I pick this offline, I'm not going to get it. It's going to exempt this one. If you trace this offline to total profit, it's not going to add it because you omitted it. So where you are picking your criteria from the data, you are mandated to pick the first one since it's not listed in your dashboard. And that is all. We have answered the two criteria. We have answered the question with the two criteria. So if I press enter here now, look at the summation. So what you have here now, if I'm to interpret it as a data analyst, what I have here right now is the sum of, this is the total profit generated from only what baby food item what sold. Exactly. That is the analysis interpretation. Now you will now autofill for others. So you can see that this one is generating 0 because the criteria is not met. Probably one of the criteria was met, but the other wasn't met, because that is it. The two criteria must be met before a summation can occur. I don't know if you are getting me, Mrs. Blessing.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Blessing, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, remember I told us something the other time, that your analysis does not stop here. In fact, this is just like your technical work. For you to be able to present your findings, you should be able to come up with a report. And the report should state categorically, at the end of your analysis, which of the variable, which of the item generated the highest profit. The company wants to know. And which one follows, and which one generated the least profit. You need to put all this in writing, either in PowerPoint or maybe in any word editor. And I told us that for us to identify the trend, the pattern, the outlier, which are the main thing that we look at for. In fact, I said that when you are done with your analysis, if you cannot present an insight that defines your trend, your pattern, your outlier, or the correlations, then you have not done anything. And that is when I recommended graph. So I will just highlight all of them and then click on this quick analysis word 2. And then we go to charts. And then I can just choose this. So from this, it will now be easier for me to identify my trend. And what is a trend? Who can interpret this? Can somebody interpret this? Which of the item generates or is generating the highest profit for this organization?
Household.
Household, followed by what?
Yes, followed by cosmetics.
Good. Now, which one is the least among them? I'm saying fruit. Good. Followed by what?
Followed by
Beverage.
beverages.
Now, this is, remember the descriptive question. Can anybody remind us again the descriptive analysis question? Because the analysis we just performed now falls under descriptive analysis. So which question do you think the stakeholders are asking you right now? After telling them that household generated the highest profit, followed by cosmetic, and the least among them is fruit. What question do you think the stakeholders are asking you right now?
The higher, what happened? Why? What happened?
What happened? What happened? Right? What happened that what? The household generated,
yes, more.
So
more.
now, which type of analysis will you now perform to answer the question? Ms. Blessing, tell us that. Which type of analysis will you now perform to answer that question of what happened now?
It's exploratory.
That is the analysis we are doing now. Is it exploratory or is D, letter D that started? I just want to give you some expo.
Descriptive.
No? Yes, I know. Yes, good. Because now you are going to look into now, okay, let me factor out what actually happened that, because the company want to really know that. So that is where we are going to use the count if. So the count if will tell us whether it is because of the numbers of transactions that happen with this product that makes it to generate the highest, or maybe the cost of the item is what actually makes it to be the highest profit generated item. So that is where count ifs will come in. Are we together?
Yes.
So let me give us a few seconds to do this. I just want to few seconds, just start now.
Okay.
And then when I come back, if you perform some analysis with these functions, able to present a dashboard. So let's just round up with let's just add one more function, and then we call it a section. So let's add the count ifs. The count if. Now remember, we're talking about diagnostic what analysis. That is the analysis that that try to find out why a particular variable or why a particular scenario occur. So like I asked us the other time, the company we want to know in your reports why household generated the highest profit. They will also want to know in your report why is food not doing well at all, because this is about decision making with your outcome. It's about decision making with your outcome. So for them to be fully guided in making smart and productive decisions, they want to know why. And I said, the way we can present something to them is to perform counting analysis that will tell us how many transactions were actually involved under these products that makes it to generate the highest. So I'm not focusing on formatting my my dashboard right now. So let's just focus on answering the questions. So the question, you can write it down, the count if analysis question. Let me merge this together and use it to explain. So let me merge it together. So the analysis question here is analyze the total number of transactions. Analyze the total number of transactions per item type. Per item type, where sales channel, I'm representing that with S and C, is that same. So let it align with that same question you answer. Where sales channel is offline, so that you have the value that will justify why household generated the highest profits. Right. So let me also make it. Let me give it.
Something at the new hot now. Coupon card is very dirty.
All right. So are we still together? Now, now what I am going to do is I don't need to go back to the data set to bring out my key value, because since the question also mentioned item type, so I will just duplicate this analysis table. I will just copy it because it's the same variables that I mentioned. So there's no point of me going to the data source and start copying and pasting and removing duplicates. So I will just highlight two columns like this and then paste it. So the only thing I'm going to do is is to delete this formula Sorry. Delete everything here, press delete. Now, the question we are answering, this title have to also change from total profit to total number. This have to change to total profit, from total profit to total number. Total number can just abbreviate of transaction. Right? So now this is where we come in with the counting function. So equals to count if, equals to count ifs, the one with S also. Now, if you look at the syntax, you will see that it's different from the sum ifs, right? So we do not have that constant here that says the value must be our numbers. We don't have it here like we had it in the case of the sum ifs. So which means that your criteria range 1 is where your criteria 1 value is. Once you add a comma, it take us to what? Criteria range 2, where you have the second criteria. And as the question stated, we are analyzing with 2 criteria. The first one is counting based on item type, and then the second one is where the sales channel is equals to offline. So I will go to the data. I'll go to the data, and then from the data set, I'll select my criteria range 1 to be the column where I have all these mentioned. Go back to the data set, then select everything here. Then add your comma. That is not your criteria. That is just what criteria range 1. The moment you add it and insert your comma, then it shifts to what? Criteria 1. So criteria 1 is the selection of the first item, which we have already mentioned here, which is what? Baby food. Then comma, criteria 2. Criteria 2 is where the second criteria value is, which is what? Going back to the data and selecting everything we have under what? Says what? Channel, because that is where the offline is mentioned. So I'll select it, then comma, then because I did not mention offline in my analysis dashboard, I am picking it from here. You can copy this too. You can copy this and remove duplicate over there also if you like somewhere, then you pick it. Well, I prefer picking it from the data set. And like the advice I give to all the other time, you pick the first offline in that column. Make sure that you start with the first one. So you pick it and then you press enter. By the time you go back, you see that what? It counted 3 what? Baby. So which means that this must be 0. So you can see it now. It did not count anything. Now, even after your count if analysis, you have like 1, then that will have disqualified this report. Because you cannot count 1 without telling us what it's total. So with this, it means, now let's look at what we are looking for, because this is just like we are trying to understand, we are trying to diagnose so that we know why one of the variable house is doing better than what others. And followed by cosmetic. So from this counting, you will see that let's focus on those 2 values. Let's start with household. Household has what? 9. So you can see that it's very clear, isn't it? It has more what? Transactions. So you go to your analysis report and write, household generated the highest profit because it has the highest number of transactions. Let's check the one that follows. Cosmetic, 7. Is that cosmetic? Cosmetic what? 7. Cosmetic is what? 7. So now.
But fruit is 8. Fruit is 8.
Okay, good. Fruit is 8. That is a very good observation. You see, these are why you have to do this analysis. You know, one will have thought that fruits having the least, one will have thought that maybe it will be 1, isn't it? Well, look at it. It has the highest number. So what happened is the costs. Look at it now. How much is fruits? Jane,
Sir, excuse me,
is
sir.
yes.
Yeah, I don't know. You got 3 in that baby football. Why I'm getting 4? Why I got 4? Did you know you
Uh,
said where this thing is online, but I think you went and selected
no,
offline.
no, no. Look at it here now. It's still stated here now. Look at the question. Offline, offline. Or was it online I wrote there?
No, the second question is the total number of transaction per
Oh, sorry,
item
sorry,
where
sorry. Yeah, yes,
this thing is
yes,
online.
yes.
It's a mistake.
No, sorry, it's a mistake. Thank you very much. It's a mistake. We're referring to offline so that it will tally with this because we are using this to
Okay,
check this. We are using this to check
okay,
this, so we cannot do something different. Are you with
okay,
me?
okay,
So
okay.
let me just correct it because of. I hope that is clear now. So
Yes.
I was trying to look at that observation. Very, very active observation. Right?
Mm.
You can see that
Yeah.
fruit. So that is why it is good. You understand count ifs. Because you can see this discovery now. One will have thought that fruit will not even have more than one. Imagine having, is even leading some of the, is even leading the cosmetic that generated the next word profit. So, and I was asking, that is very obvious. If you go and check the cost of fruit, like pineapple can be 500 naira. Orange can be 50 naira or 100. So you can't compare it with the cosmetic item. So it is very obvious. But you write it down. That the reason why, though, just you write observation as after your other analysis, you also discover that our foods generating the least profit, but leading, we mentioned some of them that generated the highest profit, but leading cosmetic, maybe office supply, Siri, with what number of transactions. So the company will now know, wow. So it's not as if the food is actually doing bad. You know, if not that you carry this analysis, you carry out this analysis, they will have been thinking of not selling food again. But now the problem is that food is moving, but the only thing is that the costs of buying it is the reason why it generated what? That least profit. I hope that is clear. Then another observation here. Don't you think you should write something about this three? Who can tell us the reason why I should write something about this three? In my
They are having the same number now.
good. You also write that you also observe that personal care, clothes, cosmetic has the same number of what? Transaction. So they are doing almost what? The same way in terms of patronage. Now, what is the next report? Mrs. Blessing, please, can you tell us another report that we need to give, looking at the values? Ms. Blessing, can you tell us another?
Okay, for the beverage and transaction is still low. I think it's only 2 transactions that is
Good.
there.
That is beverages and what? Meats.
Me,
They have just 2 transactions. So do you have any recommendation?
yes.
Because this is where recommendations should come in. Because if you look at the difference between this and other, in fact, the beverages and what? Baby food, they are almost in the same range, but let's just focus on both. So what is your advice for this company based on this?
Okay, more attention and focus should be on the sales transaction. There should be more sales. They should increase their channels of
Okay,
sales.
good. So you can go on and on and on. So this is actually how we tell a data story as data analysts. So it's not just analyzing. After analyzing, the main work is in your interpretation. How do you interpret your finding in a non-technical way that even someone that is not a data analyst can understand? That is the essence of your report. So now we can also project this graphically, just like the way we did the other time. We can choose to use another graph. Let me use a vertical one. So with this, I think you can see the graph of this. Let's check. The household is still leading with a 9. And then we can easily see the list also. So you can see the graph of food now. You can see that terms of counting, food is leading just like we defined. So this is where we are going to stop. This is 6 a.m. So your assignment, like I dropped some messages in the group yesterday. I really want this class to go all smoothly without any form of interruption. With the level we have learned now, if you are not able to meet up with a session, I believe you get the video. In as much you are not going to be missing like 2-3 classes consecutive. If you miss a class, you can sit down with the video and make sure that you replicate it before the next class. So when we come up again and you were not in that class, you can now ask questions. Some of those questions can now lead to some revision that can end up bringing you up to state. I believe that is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So your assignment is you are to add this analysis to that previous dashboard and then get ready to do a 5-minute presentation on Saturday. So what do I mean by presentation? You show us your analysis, make sure that they are well formatted, and then make sure that you write your reports. I think I've showed us how to write reports either on PowerPoint. I think it's this class. So write your findings, just like the way we are communicating them verbally now. Put them in writing. If you don't know how to use PowerPoint, use Microsoft Word, because you are going to share your screen. You are going to do a presentation. So you tell us, my name is Eguero Prosper. I am aspiring data analyst, and I'm here to present a report, some findings that I deduced from a particular data. You tell us what that data is all about. Maybe it's a sales inventory data. And then these are the possible questions that the stakeholder can ask. And these are the answers that are provided. And this is my final analysis. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
That answer you're talking about, or the findings, will it come out in a different sheet? Aside the dashboard sheet, it's going to come out in a different sheet now.
So yes, the final analysis. Hello.
Yes, that's what I'm asking is that the findings, is it going to come out in a different sheet, not
Yes.
in the analysis dashboard sheet?
No. Now, this one now, these are your technical analysis output. So once you are done with this analysis now, just like what we are saying now, you now go to PowerPoint or Microsoft Word and write your name. You write your name, you talk about the data sets you analyze, how many headers are in the data set you analyze, and how many records are in that data set. And then you now proceed. Maybe if you are using the Microsoft Word, or let's say you do not understand the PowerPoint, then you go to the next page. You tell us, you highlight the questions you answer, and then you go to the next page. You show us your summary, your finding. So if you are using Excel, then that executive report can be in a different sheet. You can come to a different sheet like this and write everything different from where you perform your analysis and where you have your data. If you are using PowerPoint, go and write everything in PowerPoint. If you are using Microsoft Word, so you will not present it to us. I hope it's clear, man.
Yes, sir.
All right. So have a blessed week. Then we stop here. See us on Saturday by the grace of